Got a bit of a different video today. We will be riding along in the Tesla Model 3 with Tesla's FSD Beta version 10.5. This is not my car, but I thought I would share this because it is pretty interesting technology. So, yeah, I thought we'll just ride along and I'll just comment. This is after the fact, my comments on how the drive went. I've been in it a few times now. The screen is blurred just so it doesn't display any private information, so that's probably annoying because it covers stuff. But anyways, I wanted to kind of share not exactly the drive itself, because I know there are plenty of FSD videos out there, but sort of the experience as it stands right now. Because I rode in it yesterday and now today a couple times. I haven't a few times, a handful of times. It hasn't been a terribly great number of times, but I do have a good experience. Like, I've been on autopilot, I know the whole deal there, but basically I want to tell you what it's like to be in FSD Beta, and this is version 10.5, so just these are my thoughts. So here we are coming up on a rotary. Now it's great because this functionality was just never in the car. This is a 2018 version, but you'll see here it's just stumbling, it's just going very slow, and then all of a sudden it just hits the accelerator. And now we're into the rotary. So functionally, it's working. What I will say is a theme, though, is, as you'll see, it's kind of getting out of the rotary here onto the main rest of the road. Is the issue is it's not smooth. Now, I know it is significantly more smooth than it was initially, but it'll hit the accelerator, it'll slam on the brakes, lots of phantom braking, not terrible, not like from full speed to zero, but phantom braking where it'll hit the brakes and you'll slide forward in your seat up against the seatbelt, which it's just not a good experience. And it's not terrible right now. It's just more smoothness would be greatly appreciated. And same with the acceleration. Sometimes, like not on this road right here, but there were some times where it actually did not have the right speed limit, and it either picked it up too late off of the speed limit sign, or it was just ignoring it. So there isn't an issue there, and I'll comment more on exactly what's happening when we get off this road here. But basically what I would say is it's not that it's dangerous, it's just not safe. And that's why the driver is there. The driver is there to make sure everything's okay. Because if you put a bunch of these on the roads right now, and believe me, I am such a big Tesla bull, but this would not turn out very well. There are need for disengagements. Right now, this is a zero disengagement and will be throughout the entirety of this 8-minute video, zero disengagement drive. But there were a few other drives, as I said, that were not actually zero disengagement. So right now, it's just a straightaway. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong. Tesla's autopilot has always been great at doing straightaways. So we will be coming up actually on a traffic light here, and we'll take a left, but you'll see it actually go through a traffic light, which is definitely a more complicated situation than just going straight. But what I'm saying is there are things that it's perfectly fine at, and there are things that it is a bit unnerving to watch it do. Now, we're coming up on this light, so it needs to get into the turning lane, the left-hand turn lane. So you will see it moves over just fine, which is what it's about to do right now, and it moves over very smoothly. And now we are here waiting for the green arrow, which is coming in just a few seconds here. There is a car behind us, but that's the thing. When you're in the moment, you are nervous because A, this is a very expensive car. You don't want anything bad to happen. And it's very unnerving, as I said. And B, there are other drivers on the road. They're not expecting you to be making real jerky movements and stopping or accelerating in really unexpected ways. So it really is very crazy and a wild experience. But here we are, we're about to have the green arrow, and the car is going. It handles this turn, I'd say, very well. Not terribly fast, but very appropriate, very smooth. And there it is, there's the turn. So now we're on to a bit more of a sort of straightaway here, and it's doing just fine. So again, keep in mind this is a zero disengagement drive. There is, I believe he accelerates slightly on some of this stuff just to get the car to go ahead, because that's the other thing, right? It's not just, can the car drive fine? Can it just stay in a straight line? It's, the car also needs to behave fine for the other drivers on the roads, which is what I had said before. So Another issue I found is right there, if you saw that, it kind of leans to the left, which is dangerous. And it's not terribly dangerous as in it'll actually cause damage, because there is a driver there ready to take over. But, and I think you had just saw it a few seconds ago, it leans to the left, which means there's oncoming traffic, which is really, really not good. So it makes me think that Tesla is, of course, designing this for much more crowded roads where there's not space on either side of the road. But here, in a setting like this, there is room on the other side of the road, so it would be great if it could kind of offset a bit to the right where there's not oncoming traffic on the left. So that's just what I would say, and that's just part of the experience. Like, we didn't hit anything, but it's just kind of tough to watch, and if you're the one in the driver's seat, it's kind of tough to not want to turn it off, because it's very close calls. That's what a lot of this stuff is, and it's getting better. It's gotten a lot better. The visualizations are incredible, but there are a lot of close calls. So here we are coming up to a traffic light. It does just fine reading the traffic lights, and here we are just pulling into a red light here. It's pretty amazing that the car can even do this. Very few cars on the roads can, and there it is, progressing right through the green light. Another thing I found is it stops, and this is fine, there's not actually an issue with this, unlike some of the other stuff I've said, but it stops pretty soon, pretty far before the actual line on the road, and then it will proceed to creep up later on, which really confuses other drivers, right? Because usually you stop at least at or after a stoplight, or stop sign, I should say, or whatever else. But here we are, going through another intersection here. It does just fine, going straight. There's no issue with it. It handles yellow lights well, too. There's not a yellow light in this particular video, but you'll see it's rendering all of the cars perfectly fine. And here we are. We're coming up to another intersection. It's actually going to need to make a right here with the traffic. So a right is not a terribly hard, of course, turn to make, but it does put the car in a bit of a more difficult situation than there has been. You'll see there's actually another car pulling out onto the road, and you'll see there is an example of that. Once we make this turn, you will see that there's a car on the road that actually has to make that pass. But anyway, here we are, just a regular sort of right turn here at an intersection. So it, of course, applies the brakes and stays a fairly safe distance behind the cars in front. And here it is, about to make the turn, green light. And actually, you see it actually changed to yellow, so it behaved just fine. It didn't slam on the brakes and stop in the middle of the intersection. So here we are. And here's the thing. So there's a car coming up here on the right. You will see it actually has its hazards on, or does it? I can't really tell from this point. But look, it has to go around, and it does so just fine. Again, pretty close to the car, but really amazing that it knows to go around, and that's not a car that's just stopped and has the brakes on. But anyway, we're turning right here for a final right turn. Of course, stops at the stop sign and turns in, and this is the complete drive. 0 disengagements, a few miles, 8 minutes. Thought I would share this with you. Pretty amazing that this exists, and I just wanted to sort of share my experience. It's pretty unnerving, pretty scary, but here it is. Thank you for watching.